Well, hello and welcome to the final edition of Kick-On's grand final edition. So much to get through with the big one on Saturday. Josh Jenkins, one of the best analysts in football, is alongside of me, while Richo is still somewhere. He may be joining us a little bit later on. JJ, we're not sure, but we'll try and hunt him down.
We will. Looking forward to this big game. It's the two teams we thought would be there on the last day, despite the fact they were playing each other in the first final. Yep. We thought the Lions could go the long way and get there, so can't wait for the game. But we've got to recap the Brownlow Medal. Of course, the night of nights.
What'd you make of it?
The night of the inside mids. Congrats to Matt Ralph, first and foremost, for winning the medal. But it was a bit of a surprise. Have a look at that there. So $501 he was. To be leading the Brownlow Medal after round 15, and 25 shrewd customers were on.
25 customers, $500.
We've got millions of customers.
Oh, no.
And 25 were on at $501. So well done to him.
Deserving winner.
He deserves to win the medal.
I think he does.
No issue there. Another, 39 votes is probably a story for another day. But when he does this type of stuff, it's no surprise to see him winning the medal.
Yeah, no, so I agree with you. I think he's a worthy winner. Thank goodness we put him in the All-Australian team. He wasn't a lock at stages throughout the year, but we got him in there. That would have been a disaster if we hadn't of. But that was the good. There was some, as always, questionable voting decisions from the umpires. What have you got?
There were. Now, they definitely need to make some changes. I think they should give the umpires 24 hours. So 24 hours, jump online, get an app, put the votes in later, have a look at the stats. These are the three games where I was absolutely dumbfounded. So Jack Gunston, anytime you kick 7, you should be getting at least a vote or two. He got none, so he kicked 7 in that game. The two that were most egregious, I think this is the most egregious. Forget about Nasiah. He actually got 2 votes, and we'll get to him in a moment. Jesse Hogan had 22 disposals, 9 marks, and kicked 7 goals in a 4-point win. He was $1.01 to get 3 votes, got none.
So I get that the umpires should have access to the stats.
Got none.
But they know who kicks the goals. That's the thing. They actually can see who's kicked the goals. It's on the big screen.
Particularly when you kick the game winner after the sign.
Yeah, it's on the plasma.
And I don't get to do on notice, but Quinton Hull...
Get out of it.
Quinton Hull from ABC, he has defended the fact that he has said that Nasiah and the Saints were quiet for 3 quarters and Jack Viney deserved the Quinton. You're on notice, my friend. It's not my segment, but I had to steal it. Fair. Yeah. How could you justify 34-4?
I never thought Quinton would get a mention on kick-ons.
Come on, Holly.
But he has, and he's on notice.
That's good work on ABC, I think.
The over and unders, which I've dominated right throughout
I wouldn't go that far.
Majority of the year.
Hello.
I'm in all sorts. I've only got 2 from 12.
What we know about you,
I've choked.
In terms of over unders, you're not a big game player.
I've choked
because you're 2 from 12 in the finals, I believe. It was a good week last week. There was one of those players there, I can't recall, who just got you. It might have been Holmes who just got you over the line again and saved you from a bagel.
Dangerfield was 16.5. He got 30.
You got to know where he's going to play.
He doubled it. You've got the inside information. So, grand final edition of...
I have not got the inside information.
You actually do.
No.
You must have. You must have.
Do you check the CBAs? He's going to more centre bounces. Do your homework, my friend.
No, I just didn't think he would be there. So, anyway, we'll get to our over-unders for the grand final a little bit later on. But let's talk about the big one. Geelong and Brisbane, probably the 2 best in it, which we thought. Brisbane had done a great job to be challenged this year with injury in their draw. There's... the way that it sits, it's about right, I think.
I think it is about right. The 12.5-point line is of interest. I think 3 of the last 4 grand finals have been 10 goals plus. So, and look, you've won a grand final and lost the grand final. I've only played in a loss. I think why you see these games blow out, as soon as you hit that point where the losing team thinks, geez, we can't win.
Yep.
And your mind starts to wander. And the other team is like, how good is this? We're about to hold up the cup. And that's why you see the margin really blow out. So I think if you like Geelong, you've probably got to take the minus 12.5. And they've been so good. They were quite dominant, I felt, in this prelim final. Yes, Hawthorn were on the charge early. And yes, Hawthorn made a little bit of a rally late in the game. But led by that man, they were dominant in this game.
Just speaks to how well coached they are as well and how calm and how well led they are. Just they can see the first 3. It was just calm. They adjusted some things, got the game back on their terms. So I think you start 3 goals up with Chris Scott in the coach's box. But Brisbane, 3 in a row. Chris Fagan, the coach of the year again. I think that's right for the challenges that they have faced. But last time that they met, it was a 38-point victory to the Cats, and it was only a couple of weeks ago. Lachie Neale played for 3 quarters, did the calf. We'll get to him shortly, but I'm not sure how Brisbane can turn a result that dominant around in the space of a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that, well, the major thing that's in their favour is they've got the heart of a champion, and I think it's taken a lot of us a while to accept that and to acknowledge that this team has the heart of a champion. They've been through so much. They had no right to win the premiership last year. I watched their Pound the Rock documentary last night, actually. It's such a great insight into they really do work on spirit, and they certainly do feed off their coach. He gives them so much more than X's and O's. They've got the heart of a champion. They're going to need it, though, because now, we know about the players that are banged up and injured. You don't know about the others that are as well. And there's always players at this time of the year that are also injured, but you just never hear about it.
Well, Loman's been getting injections in his ankle for a long, long time. Dunkley was in a moon boot after the game. Berry, I wouldn't think he's going to play. But that leads us to Lachie Neale with the biggest selection call we've ever seen. I reckon this is going to be one of the great risks. Now, he's done all that he has needed to do. This is when he popped the calf.
And that's a pop. That's not
That's a pop.
That's not this tightness has come along over the past 5 to 10 minutes of tightness. That's a pop. That's not that long ago. Now, of course, we're talking before the teams are selected, so this might all be null and void if they don't pick him. But everything we have seen thus far has suggested they're going to pick him and they have the intention of playing him. I think I'm on your side, not because I'm risking a bike ride to Brisbane on the back of it.
Yes.
But I think it is the greatest risk you could ever take. The only examples we have in recent years are of those risks going badly.
Yeah, or the ones where Chris Scott says, okay, Max Holmes, you've done everything
and
training.
I was at that. I was there for that. I was a part of the Cats. He did it. You could not possibly. I'm thinking, because I'm not a part of the decision making. I'm just standing back thinking, how good this Max Holmes is in, and then Chris Scott and the wider coaching group just say we just can't take that risk.
Yeah. All right. Well, last time they played, it was the turnovers that killed Brisbane. They conceded 62 points from turnover. Chris Fagan spoke about that after the game.
I thought tonight, I don't know whether you observed this, but I thought we overused handball and we turned the ball over by hand a lot. I think in the first half, I don't know what the numbers ended in the finish, but at half-time, I think from 8 handball turnovers, they scored 6 goals. That was due to their pressure and a little bit of our skill level and a little bit of not releasing the ball by foot when we should have.
So this is what is going to be a focus for Geelong again, but they will keep coming. They're not going to change the way that they play. In fact, I reckon they'll be more aggressive.
Yeah, and there's no problem with that. That last bit of play there is just a skill error from Zorko. That's their method. That's their methodology. That's how they're going to play the game. So I didn't have a problem with how they were going. In fact, early in the second term, that's just a cough-up. Early in the second term, Brisbane were up to around 30 to 35 uncontested marks. We'll talk about their mark game, which we always talk about shortly. That the game was going okay. I just think Brisbane got spooked by the scoreboard, wanted to play the game a lot faster and started to turn the ball over. Yep. And the other element was centre bounce. So if they can tidy up those two facets, like the way they played the game is the way they'll play this game. It just always comes down to execution. And those numbers there, centre bounce clearance to inside 50, Geelong turned 11 of their 12 centre bounce wins into entries. Brisbane could only do that 4 times. That's such a difference, and that's what Dangerfield does with his penetration from centre bounce versus maybe Ashcroft not being able to get that ball inside 50.
Midfield crucial. That's where Brisbane got the game back in their terms in the prelim, kicked 6 goals from stoppage just in that third term alone. Here's the disposal market. Oh, that's what they did in the qualifying final. You can see the big numbers there. 30 plus 345 to Zorko to do that in the grand final. But he's going to be the one who'll take the kickouts. Ashcroft, I think, gets Atkins, depending on Lachie Neale, but I think you go to Ashcroft. Here's a little bit of Dane Zorko, particularly in the second half, where he sort of turned things around because he had a shaky first half, did Dane?
He did, but I think that worries us. That shakes us. It doesn't shake him. He just gets the job done. He just continues to play the game. This guy's an absolute marvel. He doesn't. Now, we all love him, and well, in fact, we don't all love him. I love him, you love him, but a lot of people don't love him. He is an absolute marvel. He's 35 years of age, played more than 300 games, started late, and his move, and we've spoken about his move to half-back, what it's done for that team has been sensational. I think they might, Geelong, put time into Darcy Wilmot over Dane Zorko. I just think Wilmot's ability to really change the game with his run and carry and then kicking the footy, I think they'll put time into him, which means we might be able to back Dane Zorko.
We might be able to. What about McCluggage? What a challenge for him. He was kept to 4 kicks, 14 disposals by Mullin in that qualifying final, the hardest tag that he's copped. Since then, he was allowed to play free against Gold Coast, and then still Sidebottom just couldn't go with him. What a great challenge. What are you expecting from this matchup? And Geelong will definitely go there again.
Yeah, they will. I think he's had 70 disposals since the tag.
Yes.
So I'll throw it back to you because you've done the job. What can McCluggage do to you or to a Shane Mullin that will throw you off?
He's just got to disrupt him in any way. So start centre bounce, but at the last minute drop out to a wing. And then you got the question from the coach, do we go with him?
Yep.
Then you start a half forward. You can come up as a high half forward, which if he comes, that means you empty out your forward line, so you've got more space for the forwards to work in. He's just got to continually change his starting positions, but he's just got to run and work as hard as he's ever worked. Always stay on the move and not concede. I thought he conceded in the first game where he just stands still at stoppage, allow him to be hugged up. He didn't do that against Steel Sidebottom. He was on the move. He worked as hard as I've seen, and he blew him up. And he's going to have to do that again.
And you want to get the message around to teammates. He's the right player to give handball receives to. So if he runs around the back, give him the ball because not only we want him in the game, he's a great kicker as well. So that's the right thing. It's not always the right decision to make when it comes to tags. It's going to be an interesting part of the game.
One of the great prelim final performances we've ever seen from your man Patrick Dangerfield. 32 disposals, 8 clearances, 3 goals, incredible. A masterclass. And he just looked like he wanted to, I don't know, almost kill himself for the cause. It was kamikaze stuff. 6th rated, highest rated final ever. Do they use him in a similar way? I guess the answer
they will.
Yes.
Yeah,
start centre bounce.
Yeah, he'll start centre bounce and then he'll be able to drift forward, and Manor and Myers and these guys will get up the ground. And I think that's the part that was potentially lost in the Dangerfield performance. So he attended a lot of these stoppages and then he would drift forward and Myers would come up the ground. Myers had 30 in a goal, or close enough to 30 in a goal in this final. So that's the part you've got to watch. It was always, when Dusty was playing this role, it was always Kane Lambert who was filling the void and doing some other things. And there's Myers involved there, giving the ball to Dangerfield. So he's effectively covering for Danger so he can get forward. But his finishing was incredible. So Danger is the place we have to go. We got one of the same player multis up last week too, if you don't mind.
Jezza.
So Jezza did the job easily. Danger, there you go. It's already on my Sportsbet feed. Go and check it out. Danger, just to go ham again.
All right. His over-under disposals was 16.5, as we know, which I went under. There it is, 20.5. What are you going to go?
I think you've got to go over again.
I think you do.
I think Josh Dunkley will go to him at centre bounce, though. Josh Dunkley, probably the best physical matchup for Dangerfield at centre bounce, so he might be able to quell him a little bit.
Jezza absolutely torched Leicester in the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes of that qualifying final. I think he had 5 marks inside 50 in the first quarter.
Had 6 shots of goal in the first quarter.
6 shots of goal. They moved the match up to Gardner. Who starts there? And what do they do with this guy?
I'm pretty sure Gardner will start there when you know it's worked in recent times, because from a forwards perspective, if Leicester comes back to me after having slaughtered him, I'm thinking, this is perfect, let's go. And Jezza was really good in this game. I like his game. He was able to get involved, get his hands on the footy, hit the scoreboard. He played a really good fight, really a solid all-around final. I mean, he can do this sort of stuff. He was effectively the ruckman there, so that's when you know your day is going pretty well. So he's going to be a handful, but I reckon Gardner's the man for him. I'm happy to play him 3 and 4 plus in this one.
3, 4, 5, 6, 25 for Jezza. Well, he can do that, and I think when you have a lead in the grand final, to your point, the other team chases it because you go, well, we might lose by 2 goals or lose by 10. It doesn't matter. We've got to take it on. I think Jezza will get the opportunity off turnover. Zach Bailey's been enormous, particularly stepping up with Lachie Neale, who has been out, and the challenges that Brisbane have had through the midfield. There's his
good
average.
numbers.
And he's a big game performer. He played well in the losing grand final, kicked one of the great grand final goals we've ever seen. I hope they don't sacrifice his midfield minutes if Lachie Neale plays.
So
I don't
do
want
I.
to see him stuck at half forward.
Yeah, so do I, because he's the difference maker. Now, this will sound silly, but the Lions midfielders looked better in a different way without Lachie Neale in it, because this guy, Zach Bailey, he's been there. Now, if you have been watching the show week to week, and we know so many people have,
yes,
Zach Bailey is on the Sportsbet feed at $51. If you don't mind, have a look at that. So the 67 that are on board.
How many of those did you have?
If the 67 that are on board get involved, and we're also going to play Zach Bailey for our same player multi, because I think he'll get involved in the game. He's one of my favourite player prop lines for the game. I think he'll go over, and I can't wait because, as you said, proven big game player.
Yes, but for him to win the norm, they're going to have to win the game, and I don't think they will. So it's prediction time. I just think Geelong have never been in a better position of any team to win this grand final. I've got them winning by 13.
Yeah, so
You've copied me, and you've got them winning by 13.
Well, I can't lose because I love the Lions, so I can't lose. But I just think if you're going to be, and now we're all, we're punters. So if you're going to think about the game from the lens of a punter, Geelong are primed. They've had the perfect preparation. Brisbane are banged up. Lean Geelong, I think they just cover that line as well. So we've gone the same margin.
And your North Smith medalist is slightly left of centre.
Yeah, so I like to have a foot in both camps. So if Brisbane wins, Zach Bailey. But if what happens if the outcome that we think happens, I think Tom Atkins is good value. He might play on Will Ashcroft. He was the second best player on the ground in the prelim, in my humble opinion.
Yep.
So I like him.
Yeah, he's not an attractive.
Will Ashcroft wasn't last year either, and we got the cash.
I know. I just think Max Holmes. I think the story. I can see it now. I can see him up on the stage. I can see the pieces in the paper in the following days. Heartbreak to ecstasy.
Yep.
I know he's a short price at $9, but he will absolutely stand out. And if he has 23, 24 touches. Almost Byron Pickett-esque from 2004, just streaming down the wing of the MCG.
And you'd have to get your premiership
right in the front of the voters. Our first goal market, let's have a look at this.
Yeah, incredibly popular.
Very, very popular. Cam Rayner, I like at $12.50.
Now, again, advice from me to you and to our viewers, have a foot in both camps because look at the prices.
Shannon Neal's a good price.
I like Tyson Stengel. Proven in big games, kicked a few goals last week, kicked 3 or 4 in the grand final last time. He's $12.50. And I think Starcevic is going to have his eyes on Dangerfield, drifting forward. Tyson Stengel at $12.50, he's a play.
All right, there's a lot in that, a lot in the first segment. Plenty more to come, though. Our world-famous over and unders. I'm under all sorts of pressure. Can I hold on to the slender lead? And we might cross to a special guest a little bit later on. You're watching Kick-Ons. All right, you're watching Kick-On's large edition, grand final edition, and I'm under all sorts of pressure with our over-unders, which was your idea.
Yes.
I took your idea, I ran with it, I got out to a very, very large lead, and you have slowly crawled your way back to within 1.
Yes, I reckon I've peeled back 6 points over the past couple of weeks. So we've got an issue, though. We've got a handful of players, and we've lined up a fair bit. So I was thinking about a late change, but it's all going to come down to one player. So can't wait. Max Holmes, I am super confident. His line's 23.5. He had 2 disposals in the first quarter of the prelim final. Chris Scott didn't say, we're going to move you here. He said to Max Holmes, where do you want to play? Max said, let me work my way through it. Ends up with 25. I think he'll go big.
Yeah, I'm going over as well. I think he gets to 25. I think that would be about the right line. So I think they've given us a couple. I'm just going to go with that and go over. His running mate is Bailey Smith, who's been getting huge numbers. And I just think he gets to the over there. I think he gets to 28. That would be under his average for the year. I think I'll give him the footy. I think he likes the big stage. I think Geelong win. I think he has a big day.
Yeah, I wanted to take the under here, but I mean, how can you? He's been so prolific. The attention's not going to come. I mean, there's 2 or 3 players that Brisbane will prioritise over him. So 28 disposals, he might be there at three-quarter time.
He might be there at three-quarter time.
So we'll take the over.
I'm not sure Hugh McCluggage will be. It's going to have to be a big turnaround for him to get to his over, which is 23. So I'm going to go under. I think the Mullin tag goes there again.
Here's an opportunity.
It's like to get to 20 when you're being heavily tagged like that, when the tag actually doesn't really want the footy. His sole objective is just to shut you down. It's not like a Dunkley tag or an Atkins tag. So he'll do well to get the 23 if the tag happens again, which I think it will.
Well, you gave the blueprint in the last segment how to beat the tag. So hopefully Huey's up late Thursday night watching Kick-Ons and he can take a few of those. Cam Rayner, I almost wanted to flip on this because Mark O'Connor is going to be coming his way again.
Yes.
I do think they'll roll him up the ground, though. They tried to play him as a full forward last time. O'Connor said, that's fine. I'm happy to play full back. I think they'll roll Rayner up the ground. I'm not confident, least confident, but I'll go over.
Yeah, I'm going to go over as well. It's just such a low number for a player that should be playing some midfield time and as is talented as what he is. Charlie Cameron, you got me on him last week.
Yes.
You got me stone cold on him last week.
Johnny Denver.
Under. It was like 9.5. What is it now?
Yeah,
same again. Same again. He's playing up the ground. He had like 14 or 15 last week, went right over.
And I think he's identified that as his role now. Like, don't try and be the one to kick 3 or 4 goals. Get up the ground. Had a couple of beautiful kicks, field kicks as well. So take the over there.
I learnt my lesson. I'm going to go over. Jack Martin, what is he doing in here? Jack Martin doing
I'm just trying to trip you up here, but I didn't get you. I don't think he'll have a big say in the game in terms of disposals.
He touched the ball for a half last
He
week.
might be one who spends some time on Harris Andrews as well. So it's going to be a fascinating game in regards to some of the players down the bottom. Because every player, you can bet on every player in the game. I am
So
pretty
I can't
keen.
lose.
You can't lose. You can only tie it.
I can only tie it. That would be...
That'd be a reasonable result, wouldn't it?
All right, so there it is. That's how it looks. My On Notice has been big this year as well. Put a lot of people...
I'm not Snoop
On
Dio double
notice.
jizzle.
The Snoop Dio Double G is on notice.
What?
Do not stuff this up. Like, there's been so much talk about the Snoop Dogg. He's been kicking Sherins at the MCG.
Quite nicely,
We
too.
cannot have a disastrous performance. I'm worried about his age. I'm worried about how he appeals to the masses. And
He appeals to the masses.
the
What are you
over
talking
50.
about?
Does he appeal to the over 50s?
Who cares about the
Well,
over 50s?
I
It's
do.
about the
I do.
under 50s.
No, don't.
And the
don't.
next generation.
No, it's not. So
He's up against it, though. Daytime, it never looks that good.
Yeah, so Snoop
He'll be
Dio
fine.
Double G, you are on notice.
He'll be fine.
Don't stuff this up. Andrew Dillon's reputation is hinging on this decision to have him. Plenty more coming back. Maybe a special guest with Kick-Ons next. Thanks for your company on Kick-On's Giant Show. Now, the man who's usually sitting in this seat is not here.
We've missed
today.
him.
He's had big business. We've certainly missed him.
Yeah,
He's
we
been the
have.
heartbeat of this show. He's been the conductor. He's been the genius that has put us in the right
Yep.
places. But we're going to go to him live.
Are we?
Exclusively.
We've got him.
Exclusively to Washington with our man,
Look at him.
Richo. Welcome.
Oh, so good to be chatting to you. It breaks my heart that I've missed the last few shows. I'm over here in Seattle, Washington, settling my young daughter into college. And right behind me is Husky Stadium, which this Saturday there'll be 100,000 people crammed in to watch not the AFL Grand Final, to watch the Huskies versus Ohio State Buckeyes with Joe Maguire as the punter.
That might be bigger. Richo, we wanted to get your tips for the big one because we know you're coming back for it, so we had to get them. How do you see it playing out?
I think Geelong's got too much star power, and that's saying a big thing considering that Brisbane are the defending champs. So I think the Cats get it done because I can't see a scenario whereby all of the Geelong stars are smothered. So therefore, I think they can win. I think they can win 1-24. I think the $3.20 is a really good price. And then I was starting to and ah, Kano, as to who was going to be the Norm Smith. And I was trying to think if they lock down the superstar that is Baz and not allow him to get 36 again, or they lock down Danger and not allow him to get 31, it might be the third stringer, and that's saying something. Max Holmes is my Norm Smith selection at $9. I reckon he can play a huge game.
I like it, Richo, and I've put him in for the footy trip as well. My last one for the footy trip. Our team multi, let's get to that for the grand final. There it is. There's the footy trip, $9 for Maxi Holmes. JJ, what have you got for the footy trip leg?
I've actually chucked a couple of players in here. I'm with Zach Bailey, 20 plus, and Maxi Holmes as well. So loving what these two players have been able to do. It's going
And
to be
I've
busy.
got Will Ashcroft, the under. I think Atkins is go to him. And Richo, you've got Ollie Dempsey to push down from the wing and kick 2+ goals. Mate, it's been an enormous year. We thank you. We thank you for dialing in as well. And we look forward to seeing you back in the country.
Thank you so much. And thank you to Seven and Sportsbet for allowing us to do it. We've loved kick-ons, especially with you two. Have a
Hopefully
great
they'll
one.
have us back next year,
Yeah,
Richo.
hopefully.
Hey, it's been awesome. Thank you to you, JJ.
Yeah,
What
well
you
done
put
to
in.
everyone behind the
Sammy
scenes.
and the crew behind the scenes.
You're a
Ollie and
punter
the
these
legends.
days.
And hopefully they have us back next year. Enjoy the grand final.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.